I'm outside enjoying lovely spring weather in the Bruce Gray area, and I'm going to try and give a brief reflection here that will drive the next discussion thread. It's been a few weeks since we did a discussion thread, so we'll make a quicker one of that, go for a few days, and then we'll go into the next reading for a reflection assignment in the curriculum. All right, so one thing that really stood out to me preparing the life and how to live it sort of section of philosophy, which later on, when it gets very developed, it becomes ethics. Fully developed ethics we'll do later on, but life and how to live it in the Roman era is how it kind of started. And I kind of noticed there's two major schools, and I want to throw these two schools out to you and see if you guys think they can be reconciled, or if there's a major choice someone has to make in their life. So the first school, you kind of see it with the Stoics and with the Epicureans. Okay, they're the most fulfilled version of this school of thought, and you can see that it kind of goes across into examples from every religious tradition around the world, and also from all of the psychological schools, all the secular schools of thought for psychology in the last 100 years have equivalents of the Stoic and Epicurean take on how to find peace and happiness. And they say it's through detachment. So there's the first school is detachment, that you should be completely detached from every person, every place, every situation, everything, every object, every concept that is not you should be detached from you. You should not be bonded to any particular thing to such a degree that your happiness becomes contingent upon any particular thing. Okay, so be detached is the essence of these schools. And often with the Stoics, the reason Stoic has a sense of, marching stoically onward as a phrase, when you're Stoic, you're not very expressive, we'll say. You're not very animated or expressive when it comes to your emotions, okay? So, detachment is one school. The other school would be the school of sacrifice. When it comes to sacrifice, if I had to summarize it, it would be that you do bond to things, and you bond to things into a particular hierarchy. Okay, it goes back into that sort of primary love, highest love, different types of love leading to a greatest love sequence that Plato kind of introduced. It seems like the Abrahamic faiths took that idea of having a primary love and said that to really achieve happiness, you had to give yourself to the primary love. Obviously, for religious people, that involves the divine other, it involves God. And for secular people who are maybe non-believing or naturalistic or any other tradition that we've been learning about in philosophy, would say that whatever the greatest love is, you can still tell the difference between peace and other types of pleasure, and peace is the ultimate goal, and you got to give yourself to a higher love, whatever that may be, to find it. And that's where sacrifice comes in, because as we've seen with the conversation about the difference between good and pleasure and the difference between bad and pain, there are things that involve pain that actually grow all of our capacities, and they grow our connection, and they grow our satisfaction, and they grow our peace. So even that alone tells us something about sacrifice being involved in reality. How if you sacrifice short-term goods and pleasures, you get to enjoy longer-term goods and pleasures that you would not otherwise be able to enjoy. So that's like the simplest level of sacrifice, but people who really follow the path of sacrifice find that they can get to that place where they are aware of a higher love, highest love, whatever that may be, and they have put every part of their life into its proper place. They live an integrated and balanced life. And even then, the people, the things, the situations, the beings that they love, they at some point have to depart from. Even when they're doing everything absolutely right and everything is put into its proper place, even stuff in its proper place has to be departed from. And it's a mystery of life, and it's painful to do so, but the process of departing from that which you love and then finding, after some perseverance through a valley of darkness, you can call it, a dark night of the soul, other people's call it, a period of isolation or loneliness or desolation, somehow, in words, in a way that defies the ability of words to categorize and find formulas, somehow persevering after the sacrifice is what brings us to full peace and happiness. And that's where people like Kierkegaard and Nietzsche and pretty diverse voices in the 19th and 20th centuries kind of said, no matter what you think about subjects of metaphysics, every person who does not fall into an abyss of despair, every person who gets through life has used faith at some point. Faith gets them through the period between the sacrifice and the fulfillment of perfect love. Okay, so having said that, there's detachment. School 1 is sort of aimed at preventing pain or making your pain conducive to fulfilling your obligations and finding some peace in that and not letting anything work your emotions, basically. And then there's sacrifice, where you are willing to give yourself to things, but then you have to depart from the things you gave yourself to. And after you do that, you can't just be dormant. You have to persevere, give yourself after departing from everything that you care about. Okay, so the question is, can detachment and sacrifice, can they serve each other? Okay, that's one question. Can they serve each other? Is there a way that detachment helps you in the process of sacrifice? And does sacrifice help you in the process of detachment? Okay, what is the final end that you're doing that for? Can they complement each other? Then another question, is there an approach to finding a perfect happiness that does not involve detachment and does not involve sacrifice? Am I missing something with this contrast I've seen across all the cultures of the world in the last several thousand years? And question 3, is there anything about detachment and sacrifice that I've missed here? Can we further flesh out the original terms? All right. Looking forward to seeing what you guys say about that in the threads. Cheers.